Disclaimer: the content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. Circle back right here on the Circles Off channel, part of the Hammer Betting Network, and presented as always by Underdog. This is the show where we cover the latest and greatest from gambling Twitter, the week that was on gambling Twitter. And honestly, I don't know how we used to do this show once a week. There's so much to cover on a bi-weekly basis now, and we've got most of the A-team back for this one here. We've got Jeff Nadu, as always, joining me in the top right corner. Instead of Chris Dierkes today, he's ducking out of this one. We've got Isaac back on Circle Back for a second appearance at Round Robin 42. And as always, in the bottom corner, we have Joey Knish. But Isaac, how does it feel to be back on the show for this one?
It's an honor. Rob said he wanted another white guy from New York to sub in, so there wasn't too much switcheroo. So happy to step in.
Way better hair than Flup, and it was a big Flup. You know what? He couldn't handle the heat in the kitchen, and so we had to give him a breather for a week.
Yeah, and there is a lot to get to today. We'll start off with what's been hitting hard the last couple days here, but we have the man of the library finally getting in the ring with Brett Fiensod at NBA Green Beans. We had the spaces kind of out of nowhere, it felt like. It didn't feel like there was a lot of preparation leading up to this one here, but kind of crazy how it all came together so quickly. But Elf did host a space which showcased the fight, and in the end, I believe it went 2 rounds before Amanda Library got knocked down. I think got knocked down a couple times, and then he had to tap out of this one. The story is that they had to call in Amanda Library, and reportedly, Amanda Library, actually not reportedly anymore, he's confirmed it. He pocketed $1,500 from the fight in the end to make it happen on the spot. Library, of course, was complaining about the fight, which we'll get to in just a second here, but with plenty of drama that went into all this. There was flurry of punches coming from Brett Fiensod. There was question marks about Amanda Library's ability to fight. It seemed like overall, Library didn't exactly know what he was doing, if you know fighting at all. Like, none of these guys... What's that, Jeff?
Shocking. He didn't know what he was doing.
Neither of them really kind of knew what they were doing, but, I mean, if you kind of looked at the size difference, it was pretty apparent that there was only going to be one winner. Size difference, and I'd say a little bit of physique difference as well. Brett Fiensod definitely had the upper hand in this one, and Library just kept trying to throw different stances at him, trying to go into southpaw to jumble him up, but for a guy who's not experienced, I don't know how that was going to affect NBA Green Beans at all. So in the end, it was a pretty conclusive win for Brett Fiensod, but on top of that as well, part of the occasion, we'll say, Man of the Library entered the ring to the sounds of Reading Rainbow, a walkout that had people talking almost just as much as the fight itself. And yes, in the end, a resounding win for Brett Fiensod. But Library had his remarks after the fight, tweeting this here, saying, "How much of an edge does a boxer get with a full face guard headgear versus open face headgear? I think it's significant to not have to protect your eyes, nose while your opponent does." We still have to protect, but I think he does have a little bit of a point here. But
he didn't hit him with a single punch.
But, well, then why fight then?
I'll let you go ahead first here, Jeff.
Yeah, like, first of all, like, it's never a good idea. I go to bed seemingly later than anyone, and I didn't even know this was going on until this morning. Like, I watched it, like, for a group of people that's obsessed with views, they seemingly do a lot of things where they don't get the most views a lot of the time. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why not set this up with, well, at least like 2 or 3 hours, Knish, of a little, hey, let's build this up a little bit. They just kind of out of nowhere just said, hey, we're just going to fight and we're going to do it in the next hour. And if you're here, you're here. And if you're not, you're going to see it the next day. Number one, if you're doing something like this, you have eyes and can see that he has a different face mask than you. Didn't say anything. You willingly got in the ring and continued to fight. It wouldn't have mattered if he had a football helmet on. It wouldn't have mattered. He didn't land any punches. It wasn't. This is my issue with some of these guys too, where people say all the time, I don't have any self-awareness. Okay. But I do. I'm willing to say, hey, I got this wrong, or I was off on this, or I didn't look good when I fought. I'm not going to come out there and say I look like fucking Miguel Cotto or something. I didn't look good. This guy continues time and time again. I've had it with his doubling down. Now he's saying that it was unfair and he wants a rematch. He was saying earlier that he didn't even get hit by any punches. It didn't hurt him at all. I mean, I have a real issue with the continued, we're going to continue to double down and double down and double down unless it involves something he wants, and then you have to double down. I've had it with this guy. I'm so tired of his bullshit.
I mean, on the first part of it, I agree. We have these, like, we're going to do a week lead-in or a month lead-in into fights that don't even happen. Like El First Mazier, like we're going to talk. And then a fight that actually occurs, they actually do it. And no one, there was 200 people. There's only 200. Nobody watching. It's in the middle. It's like 3 a.m. Eastern time. I mean, somebody get a production assistant to this guy and let him know how to run an actual thing. The other thing, I mean, I don't know how hard up was Man of the Library for cash? I mean, really, like, I think
for being a self-made, according to him, self-made millionaire who bets $20,000 a game.
Yeah, so he called this 1.5 units.
He stiffed his bookie 3,500, right? But he's a self-made millionaire.
Yeah, well, and apparently, he obviously didn't fight his bookie for the money, because I tell you what, I mean, watching the replay of this, for me, it's two people that I wish, like, a meteor would have hit the boxing arena and they both could have lost. But if this was an absolute, I can't believe it was that one sided. I'm not saying Library, but I mean, this was like, it looked like a fighting a kid here. So, just a brutal look for Library. And I don't know where this goes from here.
I was happy they did it with no context, because it meant that I didn't have to see anything. I just got to watch the 15-second clip in the morning. I didn't have to waste any more time.
That's fair.
So for me, I'm happy about it.
I will say too, like I said, when I did Rough and Rowdy, it didn't look great, right? Joe, you watched it. Wasn't great. I don't think I trained a minute. I don't think Jerry trained a minute. But I always can say, well, yeah, but I made 100,000 in 3 minutes, right? Like, that's always a great comeback. What's the comeback here? Like, I got knocked the fuck out, but I made, like, he could have said I made 20 grand. It's like, well, okay, I'd get up in the morning for 20 grand, but it's like, you made, what'd you make, a dime? I mean, a dime and a half? I mean, what are we doing here?
Plus 1.5 units.
This guy has continued time and time again to show that he is a total fraud at every level. Whether it's owing people $900 from 9 years ago to, and again, I always go back to the same stuff where these guys will do one thing and you'll look at them really good, and then within a day, they've completely destroyed any good credibility they've had. It never stops. And this is the ultimate. For a guy that's talked about, this is a guy that said he trained with Rob Biachvili. Like,
listen, I know who the real scammer is in this one. The fucking trainer, man.
Yeah, I don't see how, as you said, there's one thing to lose. Like, if you go into the fight, hey, you didn't have a great performance. I mean, this was like a beatdown. Like, you got beat down by some, like, a soft Jewish kid from, I don't even know, that grew up, with a silver golden spoon in his mouth. So, and he's the one, got all the clout he got from that bathroom incident of, showing that everybody was like, oh, Library's about his business. All out the window now. Now it's all gone. Yeah, and I hope the 1,500 was worth it.
I'll also say, for someone that, like, and I don't know that Brett's ever been in any fights in his life, I thought he looked all right for a guy that's never fought in his life, really. I mean, it's hard to get into a ring as opposed to being on the street and fighting. It's a lot different. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to tell you he looked like, I don't know, Vitaly Klitschko, but he looked all right given the circumstance. Yeah, I don't. I think Man of the Library is probably at the lowest point for himself. And I also got to say to Elf, like, why did you pay him $1,500? Like, there's no like you didn't get it spawned. Like when you do content. So, for instance, I very rarely ever paid a guest, but when I do, the goal is I want to at least make more in like revenue from the interview than the amount I paid. What was the point in paying him $1,500? Like, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. I mean, the figure I was going to say, like, he's always talk about his finances. Look, like $1,500 a decent amount of money. Like, I'd be welcome to getting $1,500 right now. But the way he talks about himself, the like 1.5 units, that's all he would get out of that. And plus, like, the video of him in that suite in that Vegas hotel. What hotel was it? Like he had never seen a hotel room in his life.
Right. He had never seen, like, silverware before.
All of the evidence suggests that some lies being told about his financial
Let's go around the
status.
room. What would it take all of you to take the exact beating he took at that time of night? So in Vegas, it was essentially midnight, 1 o'clock Eastern, whatever, or whatever it was. What would it take you, Knish, to get out of your house, leave your family, and go to a gym in front of a few hundred people and take a beating?
To leave his dogs. It's a little bit.
Yeah, well, but I'm same thing. I'm with 100,000 at the very. I agree with your number there that you got, but that's the bare minimum. It's 100K, and that's the start. Like that's like the low ball.
I do it for less, but probably not 1,500. Maybe like 10K. Especially if it's someone that I like don't care about getting beaten up by, then sure, 10K. If I really don't like them, probably more.
This 1,500 is a good amount of money. I'm not saying I wouldn't take that, but like I'm not always talking about how much money I'm making, how much I'm betting on a day-to-day basis. So
that's also that's a good point. It's also like you are just, you're a young guy, you're doing your thing. Like no one would have an issue with that. But this guy's main kind of thought his entire career on here has been, I'm going to make it like he started betting tens of thousands on each game, I'm venturing to believe that we're more or less in belief at this point that there was a rumor that he was betting $20 parlays. Like I'm in belief that that's more true than him betting $10,000 parlays. I
mean, he literally said that the 1,500 was 1.5 units, right? So how is he betting $20,000, right? That doesn't make it. Just the math doesn't match. But
the constant
banger.
Yeah, it's moved time and time again.
We're giving him too much credit here. It's all bullshit.
But then this is what he does all the time. He'll then go on and say it wasn't fair. Something went on.
Yeah,
that's where like I have a problem with people that do content. It's like sometimes you have to just say, I got fucked up, or I look like shit, or I was dead wrong here. Like the constant like doubling down. I remember when I did the treadmill thing, or when Elf did the push-ups. He had a reason for every reason why we shouldn't have gotten what we got. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the treadmill was, this or that, or there's always an explanation with him. But when it's coming to him, you can have every piece of proof in the fucking pudding, and he still has a reason why. So
I mean, I think even if he had the face mask, he would have said that Brett's, white face mask was better than his black face mask. So that's why he didn't win.
Out of the black face mask. Exactly. Couldn't see him at all.
Yeah. There's always going to be an excuse there, but let's move on. We got plenty of topics to get to today. Before we go any further, though, a word from our sponsor here on the channel, Underdog. If you still haven't tried Underdog, then what are you doing? Seriously, now is the perfect time to jump in. We've got the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs about to heat up, and MLB is already in full swing. There's action every night, and Underdog makes it super easy to get in on it. If you're new to Underdog, use promo code CIRCLES when you sign up, and they'll hook you up with up to $1,000 in bonus credit. That's right. Deposit and they'll match it. Dollar for dollar, up to $1,000. On top of that, you get a gimme pick. And this week's gimme pick is Luka Doncic over 0.5 point on Saturday in Game 1 for the Los Angeles Lakers against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Pretty good. One bucket, and you're cashing that part of your entry. It doesn't get much easier than that. Now, I know some of you are hesitant to try new platforms, but I'm telling you, Underdog isn't a sportsbook. It's a fantasy game of skill, and it's honestly one of the most fun and simple and clean apps out there for daily fantasy. Whether you're sweating a multi-stat NBA entry or just vibing with a quick two-player lineup in MLB, you'll be hooked. The link is in the description below to sign up. Use code CIRCLES. That's code CIRCLES to get up to a $1,000 bonus and that Luka gimme pick. Go try it. You won't regret it. Next up, we got another conversation surrounding exposing your edge, exposing an edge. I wouldn't say it's your edge for, I'll explain why in just a second here, but this one, had a lot of people talking and a lot of different opinions here. So EVBetsKS at EVBetsKS posted this DraftKings screenshot. It's a parlay, 2-pick parlay for the NBA playoffs. It is to make the playoffs, no for Sacramento Kings. To make the playoffs, yes for the Golden State Warriors, which is correlated, but did not have a correlated price on the parlay. EVBetsKS says in the tweet, gotta love when books accidentally allow correlated futures. Man of the Vig replied here saying, nah, I can't get over this. How much do you need to value clout over money to actually click send on this tweet? Quote, oh, they're gonna think I'm so smart. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up and earn. So I think the problem with this one is not just like the clout associated with I don't even think you'd get that much clout for posting something like this. But I think the issue is, and I think a lot of people need to learn, the bigger story for me is if you find an edge in sports betting, you are not the only person who has unearthed or uncovered this edge a lot of the time. A lot of the time, there are a lot of people who know this as well and are betting this as well, and you've just taken all of this earning ability away from other people. But let's jump to you to start off here, Isaac. How do you feel about people posting their edges like this for clout?
I mean, for me, I don't get mad as much as I get sad. Like, this is worth a lot more than whatever the $260 he's making. And, and you have the conversation about, oh, it's not the better versus the better, it's the better versus the house, whatever. But like in a situation like this, if this dude maybe he messages Knish, maybe he messages someone else, he gets on a free roll, you could just make a lot more money. And so for me, it's just sad that people don't realize that, you can actually make real money from betting.
Yeah, it seems to be the proliferation of this, where I want to say even 5 years ago it wasn't like. Now in 2025, almost like what I'll call the end game for a lot of what new bettors in the space, or anybody that even has a segment of EV, is almost trying to I'm going to monetize myself in terms of a Discord or in terms of some, as opposed to keeping an edge. I mean, even just the amount he bet there, I don't know the guy's limits at DK, but
so just for context here, because I was going to think as well, okay, how much money is this guy making? So again, DraftKings limits are part of the conversation, but this user, according to their Twitter bio, has $250,000 of profit since January 2023. Okay, so I'm sorry, but if you have this big of an edge and you've made $250,000 since the start of 2023, you're betting more than $400 on this.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. Right? You would, whatever you would take, and then if I find I find this, I'm originally trying to fill up as much as I can with my own stuff, and then I'm going around to people, whether it be the flups, whether it be I call somebody Isaac knows, somebody Pizzo, the pizza man knows, so many people in network trying to get down, trying to hit DK at there's never a point where I'm going public here and being like, oh, look at this mistake, because then as people as soon as you do that, it's dead. If it's around, DK is going to find it and take it off whatever on their menu.
Your account as well, your account.
Not only is it dead, but every account that bet it is probably going to get flagged and then potentially limited retroactively, right? So it's not only are you killing it for other people, but you might ruin all of their accounts, which is I think even worse.
I have to say, this was a good response from Man of the Vig, but I mean, and this guy's response was actually pretty good as well. I mean, who is Man of the Vig to talk about cloud chasing?
I know. I heard. I hit you as well.
He's not, that EV Bets guy's not wrong. He said, proceeds to hop on Spaces nightly, burning 4 hours time as he waits the dopamine hit of his name appearing as speaker. He's not wrong there. I mean, these are both two people that seemingly are trying to cloud chase. By the way, as well, where are we at on the 250,000 in profit since January? Are we out on that as a Twitter bio thing?
Well, that's all right. It's you got to put EV in your handle and
EV in the name. Yeah.
Since the last few years, and a pin tweet of your picket. That's how you know you're a real legit. I'm with you though on the Man of the Vig thing. Listen, was it a good? Yeah. This was a great back and forth. I agree with Man of the Vig's original point, but like the whole like, oh, I'm not going to earn, and then the guy's in a space for 36 hours a week at night. So, listen, I don't mind people, like getting their clout, chasing at some points, but. Yeah, man, it's a double-edged sword there when you're coming at people for that.
Also, I will go back at this guy. He also had another lame tweet of, I hate the people that they kind of get beat up in an argument. So they go to like, oh, you have no sex with women in 2025. You're an incel. It's like, shut up, man. Like, come up with something new. Like,
yeah,
this guy had some decent responses, and then it was like stuff like that. But Man of the Vig loves telling people to shut the fuck up. He always says that. He goes, shut the fuck up and make a bet. He loves that whole shut the fuck up thing. This is lame. This is a lame tweet here.
So I'll read it out for our audio listeners. Evie Betts KS said, the year is 2025. 25-year-old boys on X have such little sex. They're getting mad about people sharing the softest book in America's glitches. I like glitches from March that have already been patched. What a weird time. I mean, it still doesn't, like, your account's cooked after that regardless because now you've shared it. But yeah, pretty lame.
Like, what does that have to do with anything? It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like it's kind of a way to say you kind of lost the argument. You've got nothing else to give to the argument, but
I'm sure he's dating Dua Lipa or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. We'll get ready for our next topic here, and we have Round Robin 42 joining us. No relation to Jackie Robinson, number 42, correct? Is that correct,
yeah,
Isaac?
None at all. None at all.
Well, it was Jackie Robinson Day earlier this week in the MLB. All the players wear number 42 on this day to honor his legacy in the MLB and really America in general. So to honor Jackie Robinson, sportsbooks had to get a piece of the pie. First of all, DraftKings had their 42% parlay boost for, of course, Jackie Robinson's number 42. Max bet $25. Let's not get too crazy here. 42% profit boost. Minimum legs 4 as well. And Jared at _Jared 3_. I'm sure Jackie Robinson dreamed of one day being honored with a 42% parlay boost. And then we had one as well from Bet Rivers. They had the Jackie Robinson Day Special, 42 plus total home runs hit in Tuesday's MLB action, 15 games, and the yes was plus 320. Like, if we're gonna hand this out, like, at least make it plus 420. I'd say, but it's pretty bad look. It did remind me as well, and Isaac shared this with me, but it did remind me as well of DraftKings. Oh wow, this is so crazy. DraftKings 9/11 promo boost where they had all of the New York teams playing that day on a parlay at a negative EV price. And it also did remind you, yes, of the famous David Guetta DJ set that he did after George Floyd got murdered to honor George Floyd, and a big shout out to his family. I don't think this is as bad as either of these two, but you were interested in this one, Isaac. How do you feel about sportsbooks kind of exploiting days like this?
Look, so I don't want to do any historical revisionism here, but my sources tell me that Jackie Robinson was a straights bettor, right? So the parlay part, the 4+ leg parlay, same game parlay, particularly egregious. Yeah, I think it's just a bad look. I always wonder, like, how many people you think saw this before it went live? Is it just some random marketing person? How many eyes got on this? How many people said, yeah, this is good to post before it, went out to the public? I have no idea.
Yeah, it just seems like if you're gonna do something like this, like I'm okay with it if you're gonna we're gonna give $42 away in free play or something that, like, it's not some almost they're almost leveraging the day to then get you into like a negative EV bet, especially the Bet Rivers one, where it's like, or the 9/11 one, as you shared, where like if you're doing it and you're not even benefiting the customer in any way, or like whoever wins this contest, extra 42, like something where it's an actual giveaway that people get benefit from, then like, I'm okay with it. Like, whatever. It's kind of cringe, but like when you're enticing people into something and it's not benefiting them in any way, it's actually like a negative EV play, then it's like, I mean, come on now.
Yeah, especially the Bet Rivers one. Like, I don't know anything like what the true price of that was, but I'm guessing it was still a very bad bet. Like, no other book is offering that bet. There's no way for anybody to know if it's a good bet. and you're just, giving them this boosted price, which probably is a fake boost in the sense that it's still a crappy bet, as Joey said.
Yeah.
I think if we just stay to more, as you talked about, Jacob, more like positive events, right? Like, let's stay away from September 11th and things like that.
Like holiday. When there's a boost on a holiday, like people are betting anyways. Like, I don't know, they want to do like an Easter boost,
a Christmas boost,
it's all Victoria Day boost, whatever it is. I don't know, just thinking of stuff that's coming up, but something positive. You're right. Like, why take something? I mean, I guess in a way this was something positive, but I don't know. This seems like a pretty tacky way to honor someone with such a humongous legacy in this U.S. culture in general.
I think maybe, as kind of hear what I said, maybe just keep it to just like, Christmas or holidays. Like, let's stay away from like the world events, historical events, because then you have to start doing it for all sorts of different things, right? It's like,
it's like, why Jackie Robinson got a day, but why didn't we get a Martin Luther King bonus or something here? So.
Right.
Hey, don't give them any ideas. Wait till next time. All right, we'll go to the comments from the previous show in just a moment here. We'll actually get takes by Jay. Don't click off. He's going to tell you about something exciting coming to the Forward Progress channel.
Yo, what's up, football fans? It's Takes by Jay. Jason Cooper here, and I've got one message for you. Do not miss this. Thursday, April 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the can't-miss event of the NFL offseason, the Forward Progress NFL Draft Watch-Along. Live on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. We're going pick by pick, team by team, and you already know we're going to be bringing that heat. I'll be hosting the entire first round alongside an all-star crew from Forward Progress, plus some of the sharpest and spiciest voices from gambling Twitter. We're talking real reactions, betting insights, team breakdowns, wild takes, and yes, probably a few meltdowns when someone reaches for a running back. Whether you're sweating a draft bet, praying your GM doesn't blow it, or just want to hang out with a bunch of sickos who live for this night, we've got you covered. You're going to laugh, you're going to scream, you're going to question life decisions when your team passes on the best player available, and we'll be there for all of it. So lock it in. Forward Progress YouTube channel, Thursday, April 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready for the wildest draft watch-along on the internet. Let's freaking go.
As always, guys, we love to hear the feedback, and we love to get your thoughts on the show, positive or negative. So leave a comment down below, and we'll feature some of the best and maybe some of the worst comments every week in every show we do, whether it be the Tuesday show or the Friday show, just like this one here. But to start us off with the comments here, I have one from Mike Vivian 3636, saying, Joey, what's with all the plants in your house? No chance he bought those. And I do see them over the shoulder there, and even on top of the fridge. You got a lot of plants, man.
Yeah, it's an ex I used to live with big into the plants, and so is like my mom, and so I just have I would say collected some over the years, and now little plant sanctuary. I like doing it outside when the pool's open too. Do a little. Maybe I'll be a gardener in the next, maybe when Joey K retires, I become like a florist or something. So it's not out of the question, Mikey V.
Any plants for your house, Jeff?
No, not really. I will say there's actually a lot of good health benefits to having plants in your house. So I don't think there's anything bad about it. I also don't think there's that many. By the way, Joey, is there any certain type of plants mixed in there that we don't know about?
Well, old Joey K's birthday this weekend on 420, baby. So hey.
Why do I feel like I see a plant back there behind the TV?
I was gonna say, right. Well, hey, legal in Michigan, so
you're good.
Hey, get your free stuff. Although I don't know why this will take you off track here. Do you know, like in this state, weed is so freaking cheap. I would never even grow mine. You can go to any dispensary up here, they're like giving it away. It's unreal.
True.
I was on a road trip into Pittsburgh where it is decriminalized, but it's not legal there. So when I was on a road trip, we made a stop in Michigan on the way into Pittsburgh. Yes.
We're talking this is like Costco, Walmart pricing on we like it's unbelievable how cheap you can get large amounts here.
How long has it been
Is
legal?
it Costco Walmart quality too, or no? Good stuff.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, they got. I mean, it's real. Like they got some premium stuff. It's been legal, I think, like 3 or 4 years. But
Okay.
there's so many. Like some states keep it real cracked down, where only like you have a certain amount of vendors or owners in that. Michigan, they have like so many different shops. They're all like undercutting each other, and so now you're almost like at cost for like in a lot of places. Like there's so. I mean, you go down 8 Mile in Detroit, you got more weed shops than you got liquor shops now, baby. You can go pull in everywhere.
I'll give you a crazy stat for Ontario. Ontario now has more cannabis stores than Tim Hortons. So that's how far cannabis has gotten.
I got to
Ontario.
ask you, Isaac, do they allow plants in your dorm at NYU or what?
I graduated, so in my own apartment, but
Still looks
no,
like
I don't
you're in
think
your
they do.
dorm.
Not in the dorms. Yeah, got some nice paintings up.
Yeah, who picked? I was about to say, who picked those paintings out?
My grandmother.
Okay.
There you go.
Good response. That's the best response.
Those look very like
You did.
50s art.
Yeah.
I can
yeah.
see them.
That's probably
next
when they were bought.
Next comment that we have here comes from Tommy David Verbal. He says, comparing Steve Fezzik to Simon Hunter is totally out of bounds in my opinion. I think Rob Pizzola would even agree. Knish, you know Rob well. Do you think Rob would agree with such a statement comparing Fezzik to Simon Hunter?
Maybe a few months ago, but now after the last few months of the full-on Feds, I think he would say he's, him and Fez are on, like occasional speaking terms. Whereas I think, Simon called them the P word online. And then, I wouldn't say they'd be on any, they might be on like the library Brett terms if they ever ran into each other. So, yes, but I agree. Like, we probably, there's a little bit of satire.
I've got some good news here because I asked Rob if he would agree earlier today, and he said this, and I have permission to share this. I'll read out exactly what Rob messaged me. There are different reasons as to why I dislike both, so maybe the comp doesn't work, but each is a loser in my opinion. Simon totally misrepresents himself as having knowledge that he doesn't have. Steve is just completely irrational and delusional. Who said this? Who made this comparison on the show last week? Do you remember? You guys remember?
I think it was maybe. I don't even remember, honestly.
Was it Flup? Maybe it was Flup.
Maybe, yeah.
Was it
Well, he's not here, so we'll throw him under the bus. Yeah,
sure.
Flup,
We can throw him under the bus a little bit. Last one that we have here. This should cause some debate, and I'm upset that Flup isn't here to defend this one because I would have gone to him first. But the only T.Y. Crane says, if you're a top downer, so a top down better, in my opinion, you're not even a sports better. Top downing is just a party trick. The person that actually moves the number is the one that actually knows sports and is an actual sports bettor. Not trying to sound negative, just trying to voice my opinion on the topic. Let's start with you, Isaac, on this one. Can you consider yourself a sports bettor? Because Flup admitted, I would say admitted, but Flup said that his predominant sports betting comes from top-down betting. He's just what makes him a good bettor is his ability to find outs in order to liquidate and get money down on those top-down markets. But do you agree with the sentiment here?
So I'm not a top-down bettor. I mostly originate my own stuff. I used to think this way, and then you realize that money is green. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. Everybody has their specialties. I can tell you a thing or two about tennis. Jeff can tell you a thing or two about college basketball. Jacob, you're Canadian, probably hockey. Joey can help get you down $50 on Miss Universe, right? Like we all have our comparative advantages here. As long as what you do makes money, it doesn't really matter, right? Like I think you can be a purist about it, but if the money is green, regardless. I
will say if you've been on gambling Twitter or around the scene for a long time, and you went into like a hyperbaric chamber sometime around 5 to 7 years ago, and came out and saw the difference in the way people talk about, it used to be steam chase before the word top down even existed. Thank you, Spanky. If you saw when you were a steam chaser, it came with all these negative connotations. It was like, you were completely trash. Now, top-down better or tools that are out there, the bet stamps, the odds jams to help people do this. Like the entire viewpoint of how people look at that style of betting has totally changed. And again, I'm in the, the Isaac's camp here, where I don't care what people do, but just how it's looked upon, like that comment, that's like an old school like method, like, oh, top down better, you don't deserve any respect, any of that. I don't know. Things have changed. It's just easier to do. People now, I think, I don't know. Maybe people are just salty that the game's gotten a lot harder. From a purity standpoint, is there anything better than, origination that can beat the market and win? No, I agree with that. But again, there's a lot of people that make a lot of money doing top-down betting.
Yeah, I'll make it a trifecta. I think these guys said it eloquently. We're at the point where nothing makes sense. You could say whatever you want. You could do whatever you want. Nothing really matters. They're both right. Whatever is the way you make money, you're a man. You can spend your money the way you want. We have our, opinions on things. But ultimately, when I get off here and everybody else gets off here, we're going to do what we have to do to survive. So, I agree.
And I'll say, like, one of the points that Philip brought up in the last show that we did, which was like, what makes you the best bettor? Is the best bettor the one that it can originate and find the biggest edges, or is the best bettor the one that can maximize their outs and get the most money down when they do find an edge? I guess there's a bit of a blend there, but in the end, money is green, as we've already said here. We'll move on to our next topic of conversation here: whale watching and whale betting. There was Sport Trade Whale Tracker, who had this one that they shared here from the Masters. Phil Mickelson, no winner. Odds minus 19,900. Bet size $49,750 for a potential profit, which it did win. Phil Mickelson did not win the Masters, did not make the cut, of $250. So $250 profit on a $49,750 bet. I also added another one here. We have, I don't know how to say the name here, FOAZN Poker. Fozen, I would guess. Posted this one from the WNBA draft. Paige Buchers to go first overall, $14,000 to win $70, saying picked up another $70 off the ground today. Cooper Flagg, I'll be seeing you soon, in reference to the NBA draft, where Cooper Flagg will be the big favorite to go first overall in that one. So yeah, on the topic of these sorts of bets, making these monster bets for little reward, how do we view these bets here, Knish? How do you view bets like this?
I mean, I got no, especially the, in like a Paige Buchers one, that really is like, it's an info market. It was all basically predetermined that it was going to happen. Your only risk there is, like, I don't know, if you place it before, a few days, she gets either arrested for a violent crime or dies or something. Like, you're basically, it's a free $70. And I don't know if that was that Rufus that does? I know he bets a lot of that stuff on Sport Trade, some of the no prices. Listen, I've laid, especially with draft stuff, I've laid significant amounts of juice myself on info market stuff. I don't mind. Again, I don't love it as much in what we'll call like the Fez ballpark of like, I'm going to bet this college football or college basketball, chalk favorite and lay that. I don't know if that makes as, I think there's a little bit more risk there. But in info markets or that, like the Phil Mickelson no bet, like you go into a major golf tournament, you've got, the VJ Singh or somebody at the Masters that has no shot of winning. So I don't, if you have the capital and it's a quick turnaround like that, then, you're talking about these are going to get paid out in a very short time period. Don't mind it at all.
If I had insane amounts of money, this is how I would bet. I'm just looking for returns, quick, easy ones. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to say I advise people that are committing crimes how to launder their money, but this is a good way of doing it. I'm just telling you. You have $15K, you rush it through. It's better than giving it to strippers and exchanging it for chips and having to get with them and getting the money back. Throw in the fact, you look at that $50,000 bet. Let's say you took that $50,000, you put it into just like even like a Goldman Sachs account, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to, where are you going to earn interest in 3 days like that?
Yeah.
You're not. So, yeah, these are what we would call, I know, Knish, you remember this term, bridge jumpers, right?
Yep. Yep.
Fezzik does these a lot, right? He'll go in and find a 25-point favorite in college basketball. Alabama A&M against,
or
Kentucky.
Like Purdue, one seed.
Yeah.
One seeds
right.
never lose. So.
Then it happens. But see, what I would venture, like in those big market like tournament types, I'm looking at like the November 8th game, in Kentucky, right? Where that very rarely ever happens.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'll take the other side. I get the EV. You can tell me it's a great bet. You run the simulations, whatever. Give me any amount of money. I'm never placing these bets. I mean, I actually hate, probably my most recreational thing. I hate laying favorites like above minus 250. I understand the math. I understand how there can be value, but for me personally, yeah, it's a bridge jumper. Like if you win it, you don't feel anything, and you're just sweating the entire time. But to each their own. I'm sure it was a great bet, and yeah.
But Isaac, you would agree where if you have infinite amount of money, does it matter? You bet 200 grand.
Sure. If you have infinite, I guess
200 grand as a billionaire, does it really the rarity that it happens? Is it?
Yeah,
I think for me, for this,
I get. Yeah.
You just need to hit like a certain level where like maybe you're betting this much every day, and it doesn't really feel like that much when you're betting it. It's just, maybe to some other people taking a look at it on the outside, it kind of feels that way. But like the person who bet $50,000 for Phil Mickelson not to win the Masters, they probably had bets much larger than that in play throughout the day and throughout every day. So it doesn't really feel like anything for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think also the thing about the golf, which I learned, was that presumably the people who place these bets, they often have similar bets. So on the same tournament, right? So you're actually, if you bet like 7 or 8 guys to go no, they actually can't all lose, right? So it's even if you're betting that big, it's a little bit less risk than it might seem. But yeah, definitely not something that I personally do, and probably wouldn't recommend most people try it.
But Isaac, let me ask you just one final point. Cooper Flag to go number 1. I mean, that's about as, and other, like Joey said, unless he's, dies,
right,
it's going to happen.
So I have no problem with it. I'm never betting that. I'm never betting that myself. I've had one too many experiences early on in my betting journey. You bet, a minus 1,500. You think it's a lock, and then you check back in later, and yeah, it's a bridge jumper.
You're right, because I go back to the 2014 Bahamas Bowl. West Kentucky's up 49-14 going into the fourth quarter. They didn't cover 2.5 in that game. So I get it. You got to realize in this genre, in this business, expect the unexpected. So I guess you're not wrong.
Yeah, just the risk reward. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not a professional bettor. Maybe if I was, I'd feel comfortable betting stuff like this, where I'm betting like this all the time. But for me, that is a crippling loss. And I think especially for people like for you guys, if you're not betting like these monster favorites all the time, you can kind of roll with the variance of it if you're betting this consistently. But if it's once in a blue moon, you're firing on a minus 5,000, you get hit with that variance that one time, that is a crippling loss to your bankroll. So I can absolutely see why people would bet it and why people would not bet it. But we'll move on to our next topic here. We have a tweet from a member of the B Team, the Tuesday Show. Kirk Evans tweeted out a subtweet here in true Fezzik fashion, a subtweet to Prop Swap and their CEO saying every dumb fuck who runs a shitty business in the gambling industry literally thinks they're Elon Musk. Nadu, you're excited for this one.
I can't look. I said my piece against Kirk last week, and I even commented on this. Finally, a good tweet from Kirk. He's so right on that. We see this, and it's not just people think they're Elon Musk. They all think they all think they're fucking Bernie Madoff as well, and all these other people too. So. Then again, though, this is any world you're in, right? You're in one thing, and then automatically you know about everything else. I get this all the time when I'll comment on a criminal case. Someone will be like, "Shut the fuck up and cover the mafia. What the fuck do you know about some co-ed murder?" It's like, well, yeah, but it all kind of intertwines. I don't know where it intertwines between being a scientist, finance guy, and all this, but yeah, it was a great tweet. He's 100% right.
Yeah, it reminds me of when a very successful business person buys a sports team, and then they like think that like, oh, I was succeeding in business, I can do this, and then it's an absolute disaster or something like that. This is like
Matt Ishbia.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Matt Ishbia is a perfect recent example. So yeah, it's one of those like the guy, has it's one of the company had some like early. I don't know. They gained some early traction. They got like some good value out of their early the rounds of funding in that. Then as the business has now declined, but he's still got this like idea of like, oh, I'm CEO, started a great business. I'm with Kirk here. Like I don't know if arrogance is the right word, but just
it
almost
was
like
very smug. That's the point I made last
Yeah.
week. It wasn't about like just like the issue. If you want to learn more about the whole prop swap debacle, we covered this extensively as the lead off of our previous episode, which you should check out if you haven't already once you're done this one. But it was how smug they were about not paying back the person in which everyone else thought that they kind of owed this person. Like they owed the guarantee to give this person their money back.
By the way, not to go back onto that subject, but did you guys see that insane text he sent me?
yeah.
I don't even know how he got my number. I don't even talk. I haven't talked. I talked to that guy once in my life, and I never gave him my number. I don't know.
What was it? Thanks for the help, Pat. What were he was like you were gonna go on there and be
Hey,
like,
you're supposed to stick up for him. You're boys. You talked.
I think the thought was he wanted to like be kind of like, hey, thanks for promoting us all week by talking shit on us, dude. Like, it's like, okay. Yeah, what a bizarre text that was.
Isaac, I know you have a lot on this. I have a couple tweets lined up. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so I know Kirk was, talking about the prop swap guy, but the other salient current example is Kalshi. And basically, for those who don't know, Kalshi prediction market, they became popular for offering, a lot of bets in the presidential election. Last couple of months, they've gotten into the sports betting industry, but they say it's not sports betting. They say it's prediction markets for sports or whatever. And some of the comments by the Kalshi CEO about prediction markets are so incredible, and we're bringing light into darkness, and we're helping people when they're offering bets on March Madness. And I think there's a response we might have highlighted from a big fan of the show, I believe. Yes, props better here. Jacob, you want to read it off for us?
Shoving your head so far up your own ass you could get arrested for fracking with this one, Chief.
Yeah, and it was in response. It was in response to Tarek Mansour, the Kalshi CEO. I'll read off a quote here. Part of it. Prediction markets have proven themselves to be the antidote. They mobilize the most elegant, and effective properties of free financial markets towards the pursuit of unbiased truth. And to be clear here, this is in response to them being sued by Nevada because they were offering March Madness bets, right? So it's just like, give me a break here, do whatever you got to do, but don't piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Tough one there for Kalshi in the end, but yeah, I think that's the sentiment for anybody. I mean, people kind of turned it back on. I saw Rob tagged in the comments under Kirk's tweet here as well, but again, for me, the whole prop swap thing, like the fact that they just doubled, tripled, quadrupled down and were so goddamn smug about it, that's what really rubbed people the wrong way. Like if you felt so you didn't owe the guide, you wanted to, say your piece on the spaces, whatever. But like to be laughing about it, obviously horrible look for your brand there. We've got a few more topics we're going to cover here, 3 more in fact, so stick around, but we'll hear a word from one of our sponsors here on the channel, Edge Boost, before we do. Ever had your deposit blocked right before a big bet? Ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but you hit your ATM limit? Listen, I've had experiences like this, so I'm sure you have had them as well. You never know when you're going to get that message about a big edge somewhere. You've got to fill your account quickly before it evaporates, and you just can't get that money in there in time. Your bank blocks your deposit. Maybe you get the deposit through, but it takes 30 minutes for that deposit to process, and all of a sudden, you can't get down on that huge edge that you wanted. Well, that situation arises no more with Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money when and where you need it, without the delays that can come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear again. It gets better. Every time you deposit into qualified gambling accounts, you earn cash back rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost is a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to www.edgeboost.bet. That's www.edgeboost.bet, or just go to the link in the description and sign up to Edge Boost today. Next up here, we had to add this in because our guest here, Round Robin 42 Isaac, wanted this one so bad on the show. We have at Uncle Mal Bets. Uncle Mal showcasing a ticket here on Bobby Witt Jr. over half a steal. The tweet says Bobby Wagon Jr. stolen base checkmark plus 600 at Bet365 versus plus 450 other books, whatever. Don't talk to me about plus EV and CSV. Don't talk to me about odd screens. Stop falling for the stupid act. I know what I'm doing. Do you? And it's a screenshot of the ticket here. Bobby Witt over half a steal plus 600. $30 to win $210. Isaac, go ahead, man.
So obviously, we don't want to unit shame. There's nothing wrong with betting small amounts, totally fine. But if you're going to constantly talk about yourself as this incredible sports bettor and then you post a $30 ticket, you're going to get some shit and you deserve it. My favorite part of this is the don't talk to me about odd screens. But then early in the tweet, he says plus 600 on Bet365. Plus 450 everywhere else, which means if he's not using an odd screen, you got to imagine he's got 8 tabs pulled up, and then he's got like the stolen base props and all of them. He's spending 30 minutes manually line shopping when he could have just pulled up an odd screen. It's just perfection to me, and you got all the right emojis. I mean, perfect tweet.
I also want to shout out to the Petty Queen BBW in the tweet.
I asked you to read those.
Who's the Petty Queen BBW?
Shout out at Petty Queen BBW and Jones like, Trends on the collab.
For anyone that doesn't know, it sounds like Uncle Mal's maybe getting back into his OnlyFans career with the Petty Queen BBW. By the way, do you guys know about that? Someone comes into the space one time. This was like maybe 2 months ago, and goes, "Hey, Uncle Mal, why don't you tell us about Magnum Mal?" And we found out he was like this OnlyFans guy. He was like grading like vaginas and stuff. It was bizarre. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have like my only comment here was going to be Uncle Mal is literally on. Doesn't he have a family? He's on those spaces like from the time it opens to every single night. Like I have never seen someone so dedicated. He's on it like as much as Elf is on it. Dedicated to the bit of like on the panel saying some like vanilla nonsense, glazing up everybody, and then
every 35 minutes he like chimes in with like, "Yeah, ha ha ha, that's funny." But he made a comment one time. It's very funny. I think he was arguing with MPB or somebody, some other moron, and he goes, "When you have 6 houses, let me know, bro."
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
okay. If I have 6 houses, I'm not betting $30 on a prop. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's just the thing about this. Like Johnny talked about when he was on one of his shows. He's like, we need to bring back unit shaming because like it's fine to bet $30 on something that's plus 600, but to be a self-proclaimed player prop curator, you own your own business base, you talk so much about yourself as this amazing bettor, such as in this tweet. Yeah, it's a very large tell, $30, and you should be unit shamed.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has said at multiple points that he can't bet with legal sports books because he lives in doesn't he live in like Texas or something?
Oh, I didn't go that deep. It's actually his location on his Twitter bio says
like I think people have said that to him before.
You had to get the whales to get down on Bet365 for him. Yeah, like Zilbert on Wednesday had to get the whales out to get Phil for him on that one.
The funny thing about this also is not to get too into the weeds, but if you were limited on Bet365, you wouldn't be able to bet $30 on a plus 600 prop. But then if you weren't limited, you could bet a lot more. So he's both not limited and he's actually betting way less than the max here. So just a weird middle ground there for the niche Bet365 fans in the crowd.
Yeah, if you're going to parade yourself like a winner, like you got to be able to back it up with the ticket. Either that or just don't show the amount on the ticket. And But if you're following people like this, it should be, again, a bit of a tell. But transitions very well into our next topic here from Mr. Peanut Butter, who was a recent guest on the Circles Off Thursday interview. If you want to go check that one out, but a prominent user of gambling Twitter, Sharp Better as well, and posted this. One thing that makes a huge difference when you're mid-tier pro bettor is recognizing the few situations when you really got the inside edge and having the stones to load up. When you first are seriously betting, makes sense to be cautious. Once you got the reps, gotta let it fly. So we'll move to Knish here, who's maybe been through processes like this, because you were talking earlier, you've got to fill as much as possible. Do you agree with this take? Like, what did it take for you to get to that point?
No, I think he nails it here. And I will say, when I was first starting out, that would have been a lot harder for me. And some of it is just, how much capital or how much fiscal success you've had kind of over the years, the comfortability. I know, when you're first, when I probably, if you look back, had some edges that, man, I really should have went hard on those, and I didn't. But nowadays, it's easy to say now, like hindsight always 2020. But if anything, things get dried up, like our conversation earlier with EV Kansas or whatever. Things get dried up so quickly now. You really do have to shove. If you find something good, I mean, if you can quantify it that this is really good, you got to go. You really got to go, because the slow bleed. I used to be more of a slow bleed proponent of like, let's keep this edge going. We'll try and keep it under wraps. We'll slowly start incrementally. Nowadays, that's unrealistic. Like, people are going to find it. It's going to disappear. The book's going to be onto you. And yeah, you gotta go hard. And it's easier though, as he said, like when you're a mid-tier pro, that means you've had some success. You're able to quantify it more often. When you're starting out, or you might not know even what you're looking at, you can find yourself maybe where, in one of those spots where you look back and you're like, oh man, I could have made fucking a ton on that, and I, probably pussied out.
And when you're betting NFL and things like that, you only have so many games, right? It's different with college basketball. You have so many different. You only have 18 games. Then you have some playoffs. And look, I'm not a professional. I'm not Knish or some of these other people. But I've also noticed in my last 2-3 years, when I press, it generally is a very good outcome for me. You're obviously put more time into it. You think it out more. The whole, marginally, going, it takes forever.
Yeah, and I think one thing he kind of clarified, there were some funny responses to this tweet, was he's not talking about an instance where, you think it should be -110 and it's +120. Like, you're talking about a really big, to steal from the Australians here, we're talking about a roar, right? We're talking about something where it's super mispriced, or there's some sort of systemic issue in the market where you can, parlay a lot, get a huge amount down, classic example, like the EV Kansas, something that's parlayable that shouldn't be. Some book offers, a NASCAR prop, and they don't include the best guy in the field, or something like that. We're talking really, really big edges where it's not a question of, am I winning by 10%, 20%? We're talking 100% plus EV that you can get a lot down on. And then, in those instances, you got to be able to load up. As a solidly low to mid-tier pro bettor myself, I'd agree, and would also say again that, if you find something like this and you do happen to find yourself undercapitalized, reach out to a pro bettor, and oftentimes you can get on a free roll and you can really make a lot more than you would by just betting it, especially if you're going to bet it on your own limited accounts.
From my perspective here, as somebody who's not in a position that I can just fire away when something like this pops up, I think back to previous months where I've had these monster edges, and I think back like, man, I really wish I was able to get way more down than I did. I literally just didn't have the money to do it. And I also think back to moments where, like I said, for the whale bets part of the show, like you have to be able to do this so often that you can withstand the variance of something going wrong in a scenario like this. So, like when there's, as EV Bets put it, a glitch, that's one thing, because you can really solidify your position being correct there. But like, let's say in the NBA, if mid-season Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were to be injured out of nowhere, ruled out for the season, and you're betting, you want to bet on the second favorite to win the MVP now because Shea's not going to hit 65 games, so you want to load up Nikola Jokic. Obviously, fantastic position in that hypothetical situation to have that information ahead of time. But, like, what if somebody were to pass Jokic out of nowhere and all of a sudden you've loaded up on that outstanding position and then, well, now, like, you just put a lot of your bankroll in that you can't really like that. That's just not you can't afford to lose, but that's a significant hit to your bankroll in the early goings there. So yeah, if you can get to that point betting, absolutely, I'm with you guys. Like there's moments I look back and think, wow, I wish I really could have loaded up on some of these positions, but then I think back, some of them may would have been costly to do so. So again, got to build up and get to that point. I agree. Get the reps in, as Mr. Peanut Butter said. Last one that we have here for the show today. Pretty crazy story coming from the Wall Street Journal. This is actually a name that was dropped on the Q&A that Knish, you did with Rob on one of the Circles Off Thursday episodes. You guys were talking about Zeljko and his prominence in sports betting. Well, he made the front page of the Wall Street Journal here amidst everything that you see here down in the bottom right corner. A gambler called the Joker took down the Texas lottery. Knish, you posted this screenshot and said, this is a story referencing from tonight's Spanky Space, all-time shit. And it's a story how Zeljko took down the Texas lottery. So essentially, they looked at every possible number that there could have been drawn for the lottery and determined that they would be spending less money than what you would actually get paid out for hitting the jackpot. So as long as they were the only winner of the lottery, they could literally just buy a ticket of every single possibility of number there could be, and they would profit. And that's exactly what they did. They had lawyers involved. They followed every stipulation, every rule associated with the lottery. And Knish, since you posted this, let's go to you first of all here. Just talk to us about this.
Well, I'll give our man Isaac here in the crowd. I'm too cheap to subscribe to the Wall Street Journals. He dropped me a free link.
That's true, he did.
Subscriber to read this, and I mean, this is like movie, like all-time high shit. Just the logistics that have to go into and being able to mobilize people in a short time frame to get this done is so legendary. I mean, this is
72 hours they had.
Yeah, like Ocean's 11 style, to be able to not only have the money, identify the edge, get people on the ground there, and then get all of it, like I can't imagine being able to pull this off, like all the detail behind it and getting the money into and the escrow and through the shout out, whatever Detroit law firm helped them get the money into the country here to get that done. And I saw there was some, Texas politicians being like, this isn't right. We're going to sue them, all that stuff. To me, like, you just got. And I know I'm biased because, like, we met the guy at Bet Bash and, he's kind of, part of obviously the, I'm looking at it from, the sharp gambling side of things. But, hey, you got to tip your cap. And, like, if you're, like, I mean, how many people, theoretically, anyone could have done this. How many people could, actually pull it off? Very few. So congratulations to the Joker here with a score that'll live in infamy.
A couple things. First of all, this guy's got to be black booked, right? Everywhere. Is he? Do we know?
What do you mean?
There's no black book for the lottery, right? Like that.
No, I mean in terms of gambling, like with casinos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would imagine so, but like he's been at the level where he's been running the operation for so long. It's probably been decades since he's actually.
We see all these podcasts popping up in this space, right? We haven't found one where like this is an idea. Finding these types of people and speaking to them, these old gamblers, people like this guy. I remember HBO did that McDonald's. Remember that game they played, and those guys like scammed it basically. Like, why is no one interviewing people like this other than like the Wall Street Journal?
I'm sure a lot of people have tried to get.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to, and I'm sure they are not ecstatic that they ended up on the front page of the Wall Street Journal
I would
here.
agree.
But yeah, and also like to clarify before people go buy a bunch of lottery tickets, it was a specific instance where the jackpot continually rolls over. So it became plus EV. Obviously, normally it's not a good idea to just buy a shit ton of lottery tickets. But yeah, I don't think they were super happy that it ended up getting that much publicity. But yeah, just to echo Joey, I mean, incredible, all-time legendary stuff. If you're even interested in gambling or advantage play at all, I mean, this is just an incredible inspiration. I only hope to be able to do some amazing someday in my life.
It kind of works with the other stuff we've been talking about here. It's just getting the reps in to build up, to be able to have the money to fill something like this, to literally buy every possible winning lottery ticket number.
And wait, Jacob, you didn't even say the numbers. They spent 25 million to win 70 million. Like in 3 days. I mean, it's a nice turnaround.
Yeah. The only thing that could have stopped them was if somebody else had the winning numbers, and
they would have split. Yeah, it wasn't a lock, but they got it in good.
Yeah, and there was no split. They were the only winners. They did profit, airtight, and to do that in 72 hours. Not only should this be a movie, it would be a fantastic movie to see.
Yeah, to add on to Jeff's point. Hopefully, they had someone recording it, and in 25 years or something, we get a documentary. I don't think so, but yeah.
In terms of interviewing these types of people, I believe the guy died. And Knish, I don't know if you know who this guy is. There's a guy, Archie Karras is his name. He's this like legendary gambler in Vegas, Greek guy. There's that website, Soft White Underbelly. They interviewed him. When I tell you, it's the most unbelievably good interview about gambling you'll ever hear. Like, these people need to be spoken to. I've always said another good idea for a podcast is interviewing only people over the age of 90 and just talking to them about their life. Like, these are the kind of stories we want to hear. That's an insane movie idea. How this isn't been picked up, this guy should sign his life rights over and make a lot of money.
I don't think I don't think they're selling this story. I don't think it ever will be a story, because I don't think any of them are selling it. Because like you guys are saying, they're probably not thrilled to be on the front page of Wall Street Journal. They probably just wanted to fly under the radar for it all. But
yeah, when we've seen him, he usually he keeps a very low profile. And even when he's appeared at Bet Bash, he doesn't want to be in the center room. He's just kind of like out there, still scouting talent, even at his age, to keep it going. So,
and also, I mean, the motivation here. Yeah, the motivation to keep going, right? Like, obviously they're doing pretty well to be able to deploy that kind of capital, but to not sit back and just say, okay, we're going to keep grinding. I mean, just honestly an inspiration to everybody.
Just part as well, like this is a guy who's got more than enough to retire himself and future generations, many future generations, and still like that hunger to throw this together in 72 hours is unbelievable.
I'm going to relate it to a movie. You probably haven't seen it, Jacob. Maybe Knish has. I know Isaac hasn't. Paid in Full.
Yeah.
Where the Rich Porter character, who's played by Mekhi Phifer, says, they're talking about selling narcotics, and he says, I love the game. I just can't leave it. This is all I am. This is all I'm good at. And they love me out here for doing it. And like, you look at a guy like this is all he knows.
Yeah.
Like, that the hustle is that's what gets you going,
Right. So everyone has their vices. Some people it's drinking cigarettes. Some people it's scamming the Texas lottery almost. So don't
even joke about that. This is anything but a scam.
Not a scam.
They did everything above board. Not even going to humor the people who said they should get it.
Taking down.
There we go.
I did air quote the scam part for our audio listeners. Not calling this a scam, but yes, no, I don't want to end up in a legal case here. But that'll do it from the show today. But just disclaimer, because I was pretty hot about it on Tuesday, the Matt Zilbert situation. We were going to add a segment in here, but he's appearing on the Elf Spaces tonight after this recording, so we won't have the information. What was that?
Allegedly. He was supposed to appear last night.
He no-showed yesterday for reasons beyond his control, but he's supposed to be in there tonight.
Real quick, he is another guy who's approaching the man of the library territory where he has an answer for everything. There's always proof that he has, and I don't really understand how he could make this situation work for himself. I don't know that I see it, but
ask the CEO of the Hammer, the number one Zilbert fan out there.
Well, that's his boy. Rob's a major simp when it comes to Zilbert. Pretty unbelievable.
Well, we can't cover it on this show, but we can cover it on the Tuesday show. We do 2 of these shows a week here. We got the A-Team with you, us here on the Friday, usually with Chris Deerkiss instead of Isaac. But thank you so much to Isaac for filling in on another episode of Circle Back. We're going to be back on this channel for that Tuesday crew for potentially that story, if there is a story to tell. But there's always something to talk about with gambling Twitter. If you did enjoy this episode, as always, please make sure you do hit that like button. Does go a long way to supporting the channel, does make a difference to our visibility. Also, subscribe to the channel to make sure we can keep growing this thing. And hey, maybe down the road, if we grow this thing enough, maybe we can get a guest like Zeljko. Who knows? You're the people that can make it happen. We'll see you next time for Circle Back.